And we're back. We are talking with
Nice.
Wes Barker for our after hours party on Twitch. And we're going to actually get into some specifics about the Foolish show. So I can always decide later how much of this I want to reveal. And I want to send you my audition video when you have a chance to
Yeah.
take a look. So just to give you a little rundown, I've been interviewing a lot of past Foolers. And actually, I have footage that I want to make into a podcast that's called, that's separate. So something up my sleeve is more of like the IBM sponsored talking shop with a lot of different magicians from different aspects. But I started one called Fooling Them, where
Mm.
I'm only interviewing people that have been on the Foolish show,
Oh,
and
nice.
so we have a few in the can, and I'm going to be doing more, and I'll probably want to bring you back and talk even more specifics. Although
Sure.
we did cover a lot, but in 7 years, I have sent videos every year. Now
Yeah.
most of my stuff has been like my competition act for like FISM and whatnot that I was competing and stuff that wouldn't necessarily. I know like Shin Lim got away with his competition act on the show, but
Right.
some stuff that may not play as well for the actual show and things that aren't intended to fool Penn and Teller, that were just basically intended to entertain in different situations. So I was racking my brain, and over the last 3 years, I've been working out this routine that I sent off. And I think you already figured out what my method is and why I'm worried now because of
Yeah.
specifically what they told you that they don't allow.
So the insta-stooging, right? Yeah.
I figure stooging was definitely not okay because that's essentially the same as cheating if you're doing any pre-show work. But
Yeah.
that if I was an instant stooge, what was that time, Allison?
I was
That I'm hoping they would not even figure out that that's what took place. And if that's the case, I feel like if you're instant stooging but you're busted, then you're busted. You didn't fool anybody. But if you
right.
can get away with it, like in your case, you weren't trying to get away with it. You were. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the two perfect rule. Either you have super. If either you are freaking an X-Man, or you're Doctor Strange, or she's in on it. I mean, there's only two options because it's the two perfect rules. So I love the fact that you then turn around and you reveal, and it's hilarious. And because Joe Smoke, the guy sitting in the front row that you picked on, he was going to later be hanging out in Vegas telling his friends, like, I think this guy has mental abilities,
Yeah.
because he doesn't know.
It's the craziest thing because like I've had that gag for a while, like several years, probably 7 or 8 years, and I love it. And I didn't really have anywhere for it to live. And then the torn restored shirt thing is only like it's like it runs like 220, super tight, super short.
Yeah.
And like they're like, can you make it longer but better? And I'm like, let me stick this on the front of it, which they were a little bit apprehensive about. I'm like, let me just get a laugh, and then we'll make the whole thing about 5 minutes. It'll be way more
Oh,
fun.
so you had
So they,
just sent in like the 2 minute version first?
yeah, I just sent in the torn restored shirt part, and I
Oh,
was like,
okay.
here, this, and they're like, oh, dope. And they're like, well, it's a bit tight for that spot if you want to make it longer somehow. And I'm like, here, tack this on the front, boom, now we're set. And they were like, oh, okay, that works. But I didn't even know you weren't allowed to instant stooge until Penn said it, because no one told me either,
Yeah.
because that mine's a gag, so it didn't matter. But I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, it feels like you should be allowed a certain level of instant stooging because, I
I mean,
mean,
the risk is they either know and they know you're
yeah,
done, that you haven't fooled anybody. But if they don't know, it means that you did it well, you pulled it off.
yeah,
And there's a lot of moments, and that routine I've been working on for really over about 12 years now, and it's one that it's just it's carefully it's very intricate into what is actually happening in addition to that one moment to pull that off. And and that whole thing is based on ideas that have been put together from Carol Fox to Danny Dortiz, like
yeah. Oh, wow.
like all kind of principles combined into that. So I'm really proud of it. It's not like this just one little thing of like, oh duh, it's not like that.
Yeah,
But now I may have
it's
to go back to the drawing board.
it's tricky because like a lot of instant stooging, not a lot of it, but like there's a fine line, because if you could make your instant stooge dual reality, they'd let it in. If you substitute your instant stooging for just like here's a bunch of cards and a forest, they would let that in. So I think if they haven't stopped you yet, keep plowing ahead until they flag it, because you're
Until
eventually
the,
going to
yeah,
tell them
I
like,
mean,
and then once
well,
they
yeah,
once they flag it, then you might be far enough down the path where you can be like, you can really plead your case, explain why it's okay. I don't know, but yeah, you might have to just change methods because Penn, obviously, you can hear in his voice, he's very serious when he said that. And like
Right.
I noticed it while I was performing. I'm like, I think I'm pissing these guys off right now.
Yeah, right.
Like I'm
Because
just,
oh my
I want
god,
them to
that
like me, and I'm just
freaked me
making
out.
them mad, or I can see them talking to each other, and be like, what the fuck's going on here, right? Like, so I was like, oh, as I'm on stage, I'm like, damn, I better get to the punchline here because they're kind of getting looking like they're annoyed at me.
Well, and
So
let's say I pull it off. Let's say they bring down the trophy and everything, and then they don't know, and then realize later. Then how much am I the jerk if I'm like, did I totally break the rules? You know,
well,
and
they're gonna you have to tell Michael Close before. You have to tell him.
yeah,
So
okay,
he will like, he'll stop you right there. If he doesn't stop you, then they're not gonna be mad at you. They're gonna be mad at him. So I
okay. I
feel
mean,
like
because nobody's asked me yet.
that's it. That's the other thing. Michael Close might think he knows. That's the funniest thing. When I did my first appearance on Fool Us, I'm like, I went in. I had to go in person in front of all the producers, camera guys, everything. They do it differently now, but I performed
Oh
it just
wow,
in this room to just all the people that work there. And Michael Close he played the role of Jonathan for me on stage. He's looking in the phone book, right? Anyways, da, 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 da. Afterwards, I do the whole thing. They're like, yeah, that's great, cool. And I'm like, do you want me to explain how it works? And Mike's like, ah, no, I know how it works. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, how does it work? And he didn't know. So I dig through the phone book and I show him. I'm like, it wasn't a force. That's why I let you change. He's like, oh, I thought you were just giving me the option. I'm like, no, like, and he was totally fooled. But he was ready to send me on TV, not knowing the method.
oh wow.
And then they would have been like, oh, we think it's it's a force or something, and he would have been in their ear being like, yeah, and I would have been on stage being like, whoa.
Yeah,
So I'm really
right. Yeah,
glad
because
I really
at some point you want to agree with you want to go with whatever they say because they're
yeah
giants in the industry. But at some point you have to
yeah
defend yourself and go like, no, wait a minute, no, wait
yeah
a minute, that's not. No, I don't have an index. Um, and let me clarify something. And I don't know if layman would even know what I'm talking about, anyways. But essentially, because what is a little bit confusing, which is okay, I'm happy with that about your explanation, is no one has to even look at the gimmick. That's where the fact that it's not a force is still a little confusing because you're essentially just making a camouflage placeholder, a camouflage
yes
bookmark. No one
yes
has to look at that. No one has to choose from that or pick a number
no
from there. That's only for you, and it's hidden so that you can show it and then you can retrieve it.
And the
You
only
can
way it
retrieve the
really
book.
works for me is like when I stick it on there and I close it and I hand in the book, whatever, everyone can touch it. The only reason it works for that routine so well is 'cause I'm like, I need you to rip the book this way. I don't want you to open it and rip it there like a funny guy. And that's when I'm getting my peak. If it wasn't ripping a phone book routine, I would have no reason to open the phone or open the book again. You know what I mean? So like that's why another reason why I'm like I don't really use it anywhere because if I did it in just a random book, I don't really have a logical reason to go back and look through it again. That was only working there because I was talking about ripping a phone book.
Because
So
you're
I
ripping
always
it.
wonder,
Gotcha.
like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of other justifications, but for me, I was like, well, if that joke is gone, then I wouldn't. To me, that joke covers it so perfectly that I never really thought about it. But yeah, yeah,
Well, because
I
essentially
think,
you're doing a book test with a page number instead of a word or a phrase that's being found, or in the case of a phone book, a phone number.
yeah,
You're getting a page number, and essentially it's a book test with a page number,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. And
Okay,
it would be,
but you have under the guise of ripping it as another skill added to the performance.
yeah, and I think obviously if you're ever going to do like the best way to do that, it would literally just to be the business card force with the just have the other. I don't know. There's a million other better ways to do it. That was just a way I did it because I literally don't know as much magic as a lot of people. So that's
Well,
why
and
I did it.
there's a million ways to do it in an actual show in front of an
Yeah,
actual audience, not in front of like there's not
exactly.
a
Like
million ways to do it that have the chance of fooling Penn and Teller,
yeah,
and
for years
that's where you
I
have to
just
take it
forced it for
another
years.
level.
Totally, for
Yeah,
years I was just forcing it.
you have to think you have to think way out of the box. You have to think on another level when now all of a sudden you're not just entertaining, you're not just doing something that's going to go way over the heads of any of your laymen in the crowd, that where you're talking to two brilliant guys in
Yeah,
magic who know everything. How do you
exactly.
take it to that level and find that way of creating a fooler?
Yeah, I mean, dude, I think you might have to rethink your thing then, because I think they're gonna flag it eventually, because you're gonna have
Well,
to tell
the good thing is I actually have a second idea that involves a rubber chicken, and
them.
I think it's great because if nobody remembers anything else, they'd be like, "Oh, we saw you. You're that guy with the rubber chicken." And then it's a thing. It's recognizable. Maybe a great good exposure, and it has the chance. I don't know if it'd be a fool or has the
Did
chance,
it?
but I didn't actually put it together yet because
Yeah.
I got the email and I was like, oh, okay, well my password this one will work, so I don't necessarily need to work on the chicken thing. But now I'm thinking I better spend the next 2 weeks working out this chicken thing because I might lose my chance if they go like, wait, how's it work? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh no, all right, forget it. What else you got? Well, let me show you my rubber chicken idea.
I think that's probably the right call. Have a backup plan for sure.
All right, good. So,
That's
I'm going to
funny.
send you both my audition video,
Do
and
it.
I'm going to
Yeah, I
send
want to see
you
it.
whenever I have anything on the. I'm going to send you my ideas on the rubber chicken, because it's not quite there yet, but maybe you and Eric
Yeah.
might have some good thoughts on it for sure.
The one thing about the show that's interesting too is like, and Alex found this out when he did his, is like, when you need a volunteer, they always like just have them on standby, like pre sort of selected for you, and that always feels weird too. So I don't know if you're using a volunteer, but like I always tell people, I'm like, if you're gonna use a volunteer, try and just use the host, because they don't really let you get into the audience and pick random people in the way that we all like to. They're like, here's, oh, you need three people? We'll have three people waiting by the side. And it just feels weird. I don't know why. Maybe you don't feel that way, but like, I was like, yeah, I'll just use whoever the host is, because this is kind of like, Alex had to have like 4 or 5 random people there for his like,
Right.
danger roulette. And then like, he needed people to be able to sit on the ground, and they brought up, one woman had a skirt on, and he's like, this is not what I would have chosen. Right. It was just a kind of a weird little thing. So I always warn people with that. I'm like, if you need volunteers, try to avoid it as best as possible. So I don't,
Well, no,
again, I
it's
don't know if
very
you,
weird. It changes everything. And during the
yeah,
pandemic, it went from like you have no volunteers, so either you bring
yes,
them up. Like there's a huge difference between Penn and Teller sitting where they are, or them sitting on stage at your table and
yeah,
having to decide if I'm going to use the host as a volunteer or if I'm going to have
totally,
somebody in the crowd stand up. There, those are all elements that can completely change how the method's even going to apply. And so that has been huge. That's been very challenging as well because they just recently, during your season, went
yeah.
back to a live audience. They had actually, even after the pandemic, kept just a virtual audience, and
That's one of
apparently
the big
they've now
things.
gone back, and things are normal.
That's one of my big things. When I said, when they're like, yeah, we're thinking that this might work out, I was like, is it a live audience? Because there's no way I'm going to do this sign in the back shirt in front of not a live audience, because that
Yeah,
whole joke, I would turn around to no laughter, nothing. It would just ruin me. I could not do that. So I was like, and ripping my shirt off. I need the audience there. I need to play on
yeah.
them. This is just downright silly what I'm doing here. But when I went this time, I was I was Brooke Burke's first person. Like, she had two.
Really?
She introduced 2 other acts in front of me, right? But they were all
Okay.
just out there doing magic because they're fucking awesome magicians. I'm the first person to need someone to interact with.
Oh, I
So like,
see.
I was like, Brooke, I need your assistance. She's like, okay, comes over. So this is the first time she's doing her newest job. It's her first day on the job.
Yeah.
She's doing her new job. And now she's the first time she's being an assistant to a magician. And she's like, I'm the host of this show. I better host the show. And I'm thinking, you better shut the hell up, because I have lines for all of this. So she's doing such a good job. I would do what she's doing.
She's
I would
great.
try and
Wow.
chirp in and try and keep it going and keep it
Yeah.
light. But that's not how spectators are. Spectators just stand there and do what you tell them to do. And she's trying to, and I'm just like, please shut the fuck up, please shut, like, I'm trying to do my trick, and I'm like, just stop talking. You're stepping on all the lines. It was such a learning experience for me too. I'm like, oh wow, she's never done this, and she's trying to earn her paycheck because she's like a great host.
Sure.
And I'm just like,
Yeah, she's
just
hosted a
stop
lot of stuff.
talking.
Well, it played great. It played really well, and it goes to show that shows really both that highlight you as a performer to be able to adapt to that situation, and knowing that now because we didn't know that was basically her third
Yeah.
performance and the first time she helped. I think she was fabulous, and I was just like, wow, she's really good at this job. She's doing a great
And
job as a
she
host.
cut out, they cut out so many good jokes, because like, I was like, ripped my shirt off, and I was looking at her. I'm like, have you ever stood this close to a 6 before? right? They cut that out. Then I'm like, I need you to rip off, give me 8 inches. She rips off 8 inches, and I stand up. I'm like, Pen, can you stand up? I got to measure this, and I hold it out for them, and all this, and
Oh,
they cut
okay.
all of this. It was so chaotic and fun. And when I
I
saw the
noticed
cut,
the
I was like,
cut because of the tape, and I was wondering. I
yeah,
was like, it was right at the 8 inches. I was like, he said something after that eight
yeah.
inches that they decided to eliminate because all of a sudden you
It's just
have
more tape.
two extra pieces on your of tape on your shirt. I'm like,
I
they
know.
cut something there, and now all of a
I
sudden he
know.
magically has more tape.
Damn it. Oh, yeah. Oh well. I
Which
mean, what are
it
you
had
gonna
to
do?
do with the eight. I mean, you know what? It's eight. You bring up 8 inches. I mean, there's innuendo. Somebody's got to say something. You know, fill
Well,
in
and
your
I'm
own
just
joke
like, you
there.
know what? I don't even know what they're going to cut anymore these days. So I'm just like, I'll say what I want to say. You guys can figure it out. And it hurts the edit when people are watching. Like some of the trolls, they're like, "Whoa, this show is bullshit. Look at this. It jumps from
Yeah.
here to here." And I'm like, "Bro." And they're like, "Why aren't they?" And they're also like, "Why are they? Why do they keep cutting to Brooke Burke?" I'm like, "Because she's smoking hot." And the other angle is me and my gut taping a shirt on the ground. Like they're not going to stay on me. That's not good TV, right? So that was like the other part where they're like, "It's helping the method." I'm like, "Trust me, it's nothing's helping this method. It's just they're just trying to show some camera friendly face right now and get some hot chick in it." So yeah, it was that show. I love that show. I say good things about it all the time, but it's not without its amounts of chaos because all TV is, right? So
So one thing that I didn't get a chance to ask you about is what's going on currently, and I'm sorry I should have started with that
oh, it's
so that
fine.
we could properly promote it. But I do want to know, like, what have you got right now? What's happening? What shows in the near future? Are you doing Smokus Pocus?
No, I've just been doing my own shows. Like every week, I just keep throwing more dates in the calendar, more theaters in Canada and the States, and just keep doing more theaters. And I've really found that pretty effective, and relatively easy to sell tickets for me right now. So I'm just trying to capitalize on that and just going into different markets. Like so, tomorrow I'm in St. Louis, and next week, I'm in Burlington, Arlington, just all these like because I have my U.S. visa again. I had one before COVID, but then COVID ate up like it's only good every 3 years. It ate up
Oh,
most of it. So then I got it again. So now this year I've been back touring in the States and stuff. So it's been really fun, and I'm just literally just doing that. I Google in the morning. Oh, where should I go? What do I have open in the calendar? And I just pick a spot and do another show. And in between all that, just making content with my wife for Facebook and trying to stay relevant on the internet. I love making. I find it so easy. This is going to sound insane. I find it really easy to make viral content for like Instagram. Let's say I find it pretty easy, not viral, but like to get hundreds of thousands or like low millions. I find that fairly simple. But in Canada, we don't make any money for that, so it's like hard for me
hmm.
to want to do it. So I try and make more stuff on Facebook that's like over 3 minutes because that pays. So if you're looking for me to what I'm doing lately online, it's on my Facebook and it's like longer 3 minute content, a lot of riddles with my wife, and they're super fun. They're not cheesy in the way that you might see in like a Rick Lax page or whatever. Which if you like that, that's fine,
Yeah.
right? Like those hundreds of millions of people
I
can't be wrong.
totally pranked this girl, and she has no idea. She just has the perfect makeup and lipstick for
Yeah.
this moment, but she had no idea she was about to be pranked.
So, I mean,
Yeah, I
that
hate
is
those
how
videos.
you make money on the internet, like for
Yeah,
sure.
sure.
But
Yeah.
ours is we try and we have tried those videos. We're just not very good at them. If we could make them like Rick, we would. I swear to God, if we could download, that kind of money every month, we would do it. I am not that proud, but we found a sweet spot where we can keep it honest. Like I
Yeah.
actually come up with cool stuff and actually show it to her, uh, and I get the genuine.
Yeah.
Here's a cake, cut it 3 ways, or whatever. And we have a like, yeah. So we try and do it organic, and it's super fun that way. So I'm literally making Facebook content and doing my live shows. So if people want to check me out, yeah, westbarker.ca and I have always adding other dates. If you don't see your city, go on my Instagram, send me a message, and I will plan something in that city. So that's literally all I've been doing. And I keep pitching TV shows,
Westbarker.ca.
but nothing yet. Stuntmagician.com, westbarker.ca, they all lead to me. But
And is
I
that
just want
where
another TV
we have a
show.
couple we have a couple Canadians in the chat on Twitch right now watching? Is that where's the easiest place to catch you live in Canada?
I got like Winnipeg coming up. I got Hamilton coming up. I got something in Saskatchewan, and then I have a whole bunch stuff in the fall that's going to be all over BC and Alberta, all Western Canada, really. So yeah, I'm literally going to be everywhere. I'll be back in the East Coast next year too, or maybe not even that long. I literally don't follow a path because it's only Fridays and Saturdays, so I just fly out and I do two that make sense, and I come home. So I don't ever have to go in any kind of order. If I was trying to be one of those guys that was like really smart about it, I'm not. So I'll go I'll go I don't I'll go to Washington D.C. one weekend, and then I'll go to LA the next. I don't care.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, go where the gigs are for sure.
Yeah, man.
So Gordy Keg says that you are scheduled to come to Hamilton.
Yeah. That's going to be September 28th.
Good. All right. Well, good. He knows about it. All right. He's there. Yes, it's true. He's
Perfect.
going to be there. Wow. All right. I want to come see you as well. I hope to be back in Canada soon. You know, anyone who knows me knows I absolutely love Canadians. I don't know why Americans make so much fun of them because they're awesome
Are you in
people.
Florida? You're in New Orleans, right? Where are you?
Yeah, New Orleans. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And eventually I'll have a show here that I'll book you for because I definitely want you to come to perform in New Orleans, but I just need to get the show going and then we'll have a show for you.
Let's go. Get on it. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'd love to have you down. Cool. Well, Wes, this has been amazing. Thank you for finding time in your schedule. Sorry it took us a while to hook up, but this has been incredible. I can't wait to bring you back. So I really appreciate it, and
Thanks,
hope
buddy.
to see you in person soon. I love your stuff. I'm one of your biggest fans, and you are definitely you are one of my the four of you are four of my three favorite Canadians. That is for sure.
Love it. Thanks, buddy.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. See you soon.
Take
And
care, man.
we'll see you guys next time.